The death of a loved one is a difficult and trying time for the entire family. The task of planning a funeral often falls on one individual when they are also dealing with a great amount of grief. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the funeral industry is a $12 billion industry. The average funeral costs $7,775, not including a gravesite. More people are choosing to pre-plan funerals to relieve the burden on their family members. Families have options, and increasingly they are choosing cremation and columbarium niches for their final resting place. Since 1999, the cremation rate has grown in the United States by nearly 33%. In some states, nearly 75% of deceased individuals have chosen cremation. The reasons? Cost. The cost of burial plots and crypts exceeds $6,000 in some parts of the United States. Land shortages. Many cemeteries around the country are landlocked and are not able to sell many more plots. Churches across the country are stepping in to offer their congregations an affordable option.
Consider having to pay almost $10,000 again just for one burial. I would say that the economic consideration is the main one. My wife and I have decided, before this ever showed up, that cremation is where we're going. That even if we didn't have a cemetery, we would be able to place people in a very important place. It could be near the sanctuary. For example, we have churches in the area that have a cemetery, but it's nowhere near the church building because they just don't have enough land to include that. I'd like to say this about the looks of the Columbarium. It is a beautiful piece of granite. On the front there is black marble, and it is a beautiful, beautiful piece, and overlooks the cemetery because we've put it at the top of the hill. It is easy to see from the church. In fact, it's easy to see from the road. And because we have that placed at the top of the cemetery and there's a slope away from it, people who drive by are able to see it. And in fact, friends would stop us in a restaurant and say, "What are you doing in the graveyard? What is that thing?" And so we would explain to them what it was and why, and they would say, "Oh, but it's drawn attention to the church." And of course, one of the main reasons that we have done this is to serve people. And so it stands as a monument in many ways to the caring and the concern that this congregation has for the needs of all kinds of people. So this brings people close, and if a whole congregation would buy into cremation, they would save a whole lot of money as individuals. The church would save a great deal of money even in not having to purchase extra land. And the decoration factor is just as easy as it can be. It can be a beautiful addition to a church.
Columbariums can be placed on church property without the need to meet stringent state and local requirements for cemeteries. Memorial gardens offer families a place near their house of worship to honor and visit the final resting place of loved ones. How does it work? Your church commits to purchasing one or more solid granite columbariums with up to 48 niches. Individual niches are pre-sold to the congregation at a cost that is much less than at area cemeteries. When needed, you can place up to 2 urns of your choice into a niche. You specify what will be engraved on the faceplate. Your church handles the rest. Your church will maintain your niche and surroundings in perpetuity. Your family and friends will be comforted at your final resting place. Contact your church office for prices and more information.